Welcome to Grateful Connections, What Gratitude Built, the podcast where women in business share the lessons, strategies, and gratitude behind their growth. Here's your host, Malinda, leading inspiring conversations that fuel your growth, spark gratitude, and remind you that you're not building your business alone.
Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to the podcast today where I'm excited to introduce my friend and amazing, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to introduce Dr. Barb Provost. She is the founder of Purse Strings, which is an amazing resource for women understanding their financial options. So, Dr. Barb, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us more about you and a little bit more about Purse Strings?
Sure. Yes, I'm Dr. Barb Provost, and I am the founder of Purse Strings, and I'm in partnership with my daughter, Maggie. So
Yay!
together, we created this amazing community where we provide women free online tools and resources, information, knowledge, skill, so that women have at their fingertips free resources to make smart financial decisions for themselves, their families, their businesses. And then when they need to act or hire any type of financial professional, we've curated a directory of financial professionals who serve the female market. It's kind of a boutique directory because we don't take all comers. We really vet everybody that comes to us. We want to make sure that they really have a solid understanding of the women's market, that they lead with education. They're not just there to push a product and move on, and that they're going to be in the industry for a while. So they're not part-time or they're not a year out from retirement or something like that, because we want women to build relationship with their financial professionals as well for the long term.
Yeah. So in addition to just financial planners, what other resources are on the site?
Well, think of anyone who touches a financial transaction. So attorneys, lenders, realtors, like P&C agents, anyone you'd buy your auto insurance or health insurance from, health insurance agents. So anyone that touches any type of financial transaction like that we use over our lifetime.
That's awesome. So what made you decide that, to focus strictly on the women and specifically finance? Now, from the thing that I am so fascinated by with your background is you have a PhD in adult education. So how did these two things merge together?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I have kind of an interesting journey. I didn't go to college out of the gate like most people did. I kind of moved out of my house at 18 and bummed around on my own, worked, and kind of tried to put 2 cents together to live on my own, only to find out that, gosh, I wasn't getting any promotions because I didn't have a college degree. But I had a really good work ethic. I'd always worked as a kid growing up. So I figured, darn it, I never really liked school at all. I hated it. Hated it. Yes, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't wait to get out of high school. It was terrible. So I thought, I'm going to have to go to school now and get a degree if I want to make some money, because I was on my own and I couldn't get promotion or anything. And I knew I could do the jobs. I went to a junior college and I thought, well, I'll get my AA, your 2 years. So
Yeah.
I went to Oakton College and I didn't have a car, so I had to walk there, take the bus, and I, at night, got my studies done. And it was interesting because I finally then did buy a car, and I realized, gosh, I was actually working during the day. I was waitressing also at night, and then I was taking 3 courses, and I was getting straight A's. And I thought,
surprise,
this isn't so hard. This isn't that hard. So I thought, wow, I got straight A. I never did that before in high school, So I think it was because I was actually able to choose what I wanted to study and kind of was on my own to learn differently, to really kind of ask good questions and challenge the facilitator. And I went to Catholic school, so I think so much of that was rote routine kind of in a box.
Yeah.
And then one time a professor came up to me and said, Barb, finish your undergrad, just go to this other college where you can finish it out, take these credits and get your undergrad degree. And I thought, I'm not a college graduate.
Who's that? Yeah. That's amazing.
Thought,
that's crazy.
Well, I'll check it out. So I did. I checked it out at National Louis University. And sure, they had these cohorts set up where you could transfer your credits over. And took me 7 years part-time while working, and I got my undergrad degree. And you think I won the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah. Right? I mean, that's a big, it's hard to stay motivated for that long. while
Well,
you're
you know
doing little
what?
by little, right?
Yeah, but I felt like I had to do it. I mean, I was living on my own. I had bills to pay, and I had to pay for school. So I was busy. That's all I did was go to school, work, go to school, work. So
Yeah.
I was really proud of myself for getting my undergraduate degree. And I thought, "Ugh, I did it. I'm done." And then I realized that National Louis also had another program where you could get your master's. So I went ahead and thought, I'm kind of in this routine. So I got
Sure.
into that, and I got my master's in business. And then I thought, I could teach this stuff. So I started teaching there.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I know, I'm like, I didn't even think I'd get a college degree. Now I'm teaching it. So I loved teaching. So I teach as an adjunct, stopped the waitressing, started the teaching, and still working for a bank actually. So I was always in finances. And then I
Okay.
really loved working with adults and teaching them. And I thought this is kind of cool. And then someone told me about this doctorate program at Northern Illinois. And I thought, yeah, that's crazy. But it
Wow,
kept
I
coming
am
up
so
like
shocked.
it kept like coming up, like bubbling up right in front of me. Like I was tripping over it all the time. And I thought, maybe I should check this out. So I did. I checked it out. And they're like, well, there's this big process. You have to take 2 courses, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I'll take one course and see how it goes. So they had other locations, so you didn't have to go to DeKalb. So I took one
Okay.
course and I thought I was so nervous, Malinda. I thought I thought I don't belong in this classroom. All these people were in there. They were so smart, and we were going around the room. My voice was so shaky. All I had to say was my name. I was like, what am I doing here? And I loved the course. I loved the coursework. I love learning about it was all around adult learning theory. And I'm like, gosh, this is so cool. I loved it. I was learning from people who were teaching people in the Red Cross and all these other different environments. And I thought, this is a really neat thing. So I was like, I get this. I'm like vibing with it. So I took the second course, and you had to get, 2 A's, and then you had to get like a letter from your teacher that said you should be going into this program. Then you had to write all this stuff. Then you had to go for a panel interview. I'm like, oh
Wow.
my God. And I got in, and I couldn't believe it because they said only half the people that apply get in and only half that get in finish.
Oh
So
my God. I mean, this is literally, for as well as I know you, I'm shocked about all of this because you are literally one of the smartest people I've ever met. And it blows my mind to think that you even doubted yourself for any minutes. Like, it's shocking.
it's not
Congratulations.
about
It's so cool.
smart. It's about dogged, hard tenacity and work is really all it was. Cause that's all I did. Work, go to school, work, go to school. But I loved the schooling. And so I was going to school for my doctorate, and then I got married, then I got pregnant, then I got pregnant again. And I was like, I had 2 babies. I was earning my doctorate, and I realized then I got sick. So I thought, something's got to go. So I pulled all my credits and I got a second master's. So I got a
Wow.
master's in adult and higher learning. So when my little chicklets, my little dollies went to kindergarten, I went back to
Oh
school
my gosh.
and I
Wow.
finished my doctorate. So I have a doctorate and 2 masters. And I never even wanted to graduate high school.
That is like so shocking to me because you really are just one of the most, I mean, you're literally, I think, one of the top, very favorite people I for sure met in this whole journey. And I just respect and think you're so insanely smart, which you clearly are. So it's mind blowing to think that you almost didn't do that. That's so crazy.
Mm.
What's fascinating to me is, I mean, what is adult learning? Like, how is it different? Like, what is it that you learned about what it is to teach adults versus how we learn as kids?
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating. So, when you're children, you kind of all sit in a line or whatever, and you're kind of empty vessels, if you will, right? And you're kind of
Yeah.
given all this information, reading, writing, arithmetic, and all of this stuff, and you're kind of getting filled up with all of the foundations that you need to survive out in the world. Well, not all of them. Some of them they're missing, but most
Yeah.
of them. When you're an adult, adults come to learning with a purpose. They need something
Mm,
now for the most part. So either, hey, I'm traveling to Spain. I want to learn Spanish. I'm going to take a Spanish course, right?
gotcha.
Or for me, I needed to get a promotion. I needed to earn a living wage. I wasn't going to get a promotion if I didn't have a college degree. That was my purpose. I went back to school,
Interesting.
right? Or I have a new technology at work. I need to use it for my job. I need to go learn this, right? So typically people come to learning because they have a purpose or a reason that they need to learn it. And sometimes
Okay.
people come to learning out of enjoyment, like if they want to go back and learn about cooking or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But so when they come to learning, they come with a ton of experience and knowledge and skill already. So you're not going to treat them like a child, like an empty vessel. You're going to treat them like somebody who already comes with a wealth of experience. And really, they participate in the learning in the sense that they're giving a lot of their expertise and what they know as well. They're participating and contributing to the learning. So
That's
that's why
awesome.
when I teach, it's more of a facilitation. It's more of me pulling from the people in the audience about who are you, kind of what's your expertise, what do you bring to the table, what are your thoughts, what are your insights. And it's so interesting to hear from other people, like what they know, where they've traveled, what their experience has been, and how it adds value to the learning for everyone, including me.
Right. Well, we never stop learning. So when you surround yourself by amazing people with amazing backgrounds, like we're all so different. It's such a great perspective. I love that. And
Yeah.
as you go ahead.
Well, and you might be the expert in the way, but really the expertise is pulling the knowledge and the skill together from everyone at the table and making the learning an enjoyable um, event, if you will, that we're all learning from one another. We're feeling respected. We're feeling part of it. We're feeling like we're contributing and we're helping one another. And we're also pushing our own boundaries and learning as well.
Yeah, that is beautiful. It's so fascinating to, that's one of the big reasons I want to do this podcast is I just love learning from other people and I'm very curious about backgrounds and their knowledge. And, it's definitely something I want to bring forward with, the community for Grateful Connections because we all want to keep learning and I want to be able to provide some of, that direct education to help them with their businesses. And it really is about learning from everybody else. I think that's so
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So what about this process has brought you to the financial focus with purse strings?
Well, I was always in the financial industry, crazy enough. I mean, when I moved out, worked as a teller in the bank. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I started in banking and I moved to lots of different types of financial industries. And I was never like, well, I did do some like customer service and things like that, but never really as a salesperson, more in the kind of administrative back office type work, but in different areas of financials. And a lot of it, I found myself in places where I could understand either technical or sophisticated information and I could translate it and give it to like a layperson or a teller or customer service think on something on how this works. So I
Yeah.
could explain or translate a lot of information in a way that was succinct and people could understand it. And I thought, well, I kind of have this knack for taking kind of discombobulated or kind of information that's a little bit whatever, or I'd ask a lot of questions to kind of get to the core of what the content is. And then I could say, okay, now I get how this works and I can explain it to people so they could
I
use it.
love that.
So that's kind of how what brought me to adult learning. And I think in reflection, the reason I didn't like school so much is because I think what I felt oftentimes was so much of it to me felt like they started in the middle of what they were teaching me. And there was so much I had questions about that I didn't really get, but I was afraid to ask the questions because I didn't want to
Sure.
sound stupid or I should have known that or something like that. So I never asked.
Yeah.
So with adult learning, I'm not afraid to unpack things and ask a lot of questions to get to the core of what's important because I don't like fluff in learning. I like to get to the
Right.
core.
Well, and that's helpful with other, as like you said, as adults trying to gather information for a purpose. It's like if it can be simplified and we can, and because you're educated in that area, you know where to start and where to end and bring it all together versus just kind of like yelling, yapping at people, right? Just for them to
Right.
listen without participating. That's awesome. With what you've gone through with your growth, with your financial experience and with purse strings, I'm really interested to hear what are maybe some of the top tips that we as women maybe aren't shared, or, that we haven't been taught. Like, what are some of the basics and maybe even spinning some of those basics for women starting in their businesses?
Well, let's go back to when we were children because when you look at school systems, no one's being taught financial literacy. No
Correct.
one. It's so shameful. Money is a tool that all of us need to learn how to use. and to survive in the world. We've been taught cooking, sewing,
Right.
addition, subtraction, nothing about using money. And not only that, but money has always been, at least for women, something we don't discuss, something that's rude, shameful, something that you should not have too much of, something you should give to your husband. And so all the money messages that we've learned growing up really, really, really impact how we use money today. And even it comes from not only our own families, but our cultures, our religions, and even the media. And even today, it's kind of like you have to be very conscientious of the messaging you're being given around money. Women
Right.
are told, quit spending, and men are told invest. So the money
Mhm.
messages are very, very different, which causes a lot of women to feel shame, to feel unworthy, to feel like they should have known things. But I say it's like giving someone keys to a car and not giving them any training and just saying, "Oh, go
Go
drive on the
drive.
expressway."
Right.
you know?
It
And so
is.
then they feel bad because they made a mistake or they're in debt or something happened. Like, how, of course that's going to happen. No
Right.
one's taught you anything. No one's taught any of us anything. And if anything, when we ask questions, we feel shunned about it. So we're up against that to begin with. So
It
there's
is
that.
huge. I mean, it is huge. And especially, I mean, I'm hoping that, even for me, like I'll admit, it was very much one of those conversations at home. Like I didn't know how much money my parents made, right? It was very like, we're not going to talk about money. And, the money mindset conversation is brand new to me, over just the last, as I started exploring and connecting with and meeting women, just being out in the world. And when I started learning about photography from this amazing mentor that I had, the very first conversation that she taught us was about money mindset. I was like, what does that even mean? What do you mean money mindset? And digging in, to my history and to my past, it was like, wow, that's so fascinating. Like now I get it, and why I feel
Mhm.
like maybe, even though I've been in sales forever, I would love to make a ton of money, but there was a limit in my brain, I think, to say like, if I'm making too much money, then how are people going to think of me? And,
Right.
where does that lie? And so it is money mindset is such an important topic that I really would love for people to really learn and explore about, because without being conscious to it, there's no way to redirect your mind or your thinking or your planning or, how you work towards money, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's something that everyone for themselves needs to unpack. It's like money therapy to really understand because it's, played with our heads and then it plays with our finances. But it is something that each of us have to be financially conscious of.
Right. Absolutely. So tell me how Purse Strings was born. Like, what was that idea and how did it get started?
Well, working in the financial industry as an adult educator, then teaching financial professionals lots of, you know, assesses around selling and growing their businesses and things like that inside of financial institutions, I could see that, first of all the financial professionals were men, mostly
Mm,
white. All the materials had white families, a boy and a girl, man and a woman with a little boy and girl. And I just thought it was so not diverse. And
yeah.
I kept saying, boy, there's nothing here that speaks to me as a woman. And one time I said to this gentleman, who's this product for? And they said, well, for anybody, like for you or for me. And I'm like, for me, this product would be like for me. And they're like, well, yeah, nothing tells me this product's for me. So
Right.
I said to leadership, I think we're missing a market here. None of these materials speak to women. They don't speak to me. That's really confusing. I think we could do better. And I pounded that pavement hard. I'm tenacious, right?
Yes,
Got myself through
I
school.
did. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I got to senior vice president leadership, but they were like, nah, I think you should just keep doing what you're doing. So somebody said to me, it's funny how sometimes through life people tap you on the shoulder and say things to you. She said, Barb, I think you're going to have to do this yourself. And I'm like, darn it. All right. So I thought it through and it's evolved. And I thought, I'm going to have to teach financial professionals how to sell to women. I'm going to have to do this. And as it evolved, I realized not only that, but as I went through a divorce and navigated all that and kind of took a look at the world around me, I could see that women were not educated in their finances.
Oh
Women
my
going through
gosh.
divorce are
Yeah.
really struggling. Women who are
Well, they're
working at the
trapped.
local, Yeah, they're trapped, they're stuck.
Lots of women are trapped. Yes.
And many of retirement age are still working menial jobs. And so I commissioned a researcher and I said, answer these two questions for me. Do this deep research. Are women prepared for their retirement? And is the financial institutions helping women prepare for retirement? And she came back with scads of data that said the insurance and financial industry win the award as being the least sympathetic to women, and women are not prepared for their retirement. And I'm like, I knew it. I could see it everywhere I looked. I
Right.
could not unsee it. So I thought that's when I grabbed Maggie. She was a senior in high school, and I said, let's go talk to women. And I held focus groups in people's homes and libraries, in community centers, even had one facilitated in Spanish to get Hispanic women in there. And I just asked questions about, for the most part, how's your experience working with a financial
Yeah.
professional? And, like Maggie said, this is the one statement that started it all, is women would just look around at each other and shrug their shoulders and go, I don't know, my financial professional doesn't even look at me. And so, we just realized that there's just such an overlooked market. But I would tell women, look, you're going to be aging solo. You're going to be by yourself. You're going to be in charge
Yeah.
of your finances due to widowhood, divorce, aging solo, living longer. You're going to need to take charge of your finances. What do you need to do that? And a lot of it was education. And I was like, all right, I'm an adult educator. I got this.
Right.
I'm going to solve your
That's
issue for
huge.
you. And then they said, yeah, but can you find financial professionals who can work with us? Which I knew was going to be really hard to do because all I saw were people who just wanted to push product. So that's why I say Purse Strings is kind of a boutique directory, because we're looking for specific people who really understand women and really want to work with women and put the Purse Strings logo behind them. And so
Right.
that's what it's kind of like an Angie's list of financial professionals for women. So everyone
Nice.
on our list has been vetted by us, and then we give you free education. It's all free for women to use, all of our education, to use the directory. And of course, they would just pay professionals who they hire, just like they would pay any professional.
Right. That is so amazing. No, and also, I mean, the purse strings does hit from both sides, right? So tell us about the back end with the financial professionals who want to belong to purse strings. What is all
Yeah.
on the behind the scenes for them? What are you doing to help educate them and grow their business?
Sure. For financial professionals who are interested in learning more about the female market and how to serve them, I do facilitate a webinar, a workshop that they can take. It's 4 sessions. We drive them through an assessment of their business practices. We also talk a lot and go deep and give resources on conversations with women who are going through divorce versus women who are suddenly widowed versus caretaking, which is a huge impact on women and their finances, because as the population is aging, women are the caretakers. And I really say to the financial professionals, you're the quarterback for women. You are the go-to quarterback and need to be there in all of these situations, because she's going to experience many of them, and they're all financial impacts. So I educate financial professionals on that.
That's
Also, when
amazing.
they do join us at Purse Strings, we promote them out to our communities of women in lots and lots and lots of ways, so that women say now, okay, I have tools and resources at my fingertips. Now I have trusted, vetted financial professionals that have been vetted and educated by Purse Strings. I know they're a
Yes.
trusted resource.
That is fascinating. That's amazing. I mean, it definitely is combining, the both of the worlds together.
Hmm.
So on the business side of purse strings itself, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've been going through to grow and to create your business? And what are maybe some of the nice tips or aha moments that you've had?
Well, I will tell you that the biggest challenges for Purse Strings per se is that Purse Strings is not like a franchise. Nobody gave me the kit to say,
Yes.
This has been tested, go just crank it up and you'll make money." It's been
Yes.
grown from a seedling, from an idea. And so it's been pivoted and changed, and some things scrapped, new things added on all the time. Um, it's been evolving over the years, and it's a woman's work in a man's world, and it's
Yes.
still a man's world. And many, many men think they got this already, they're doing fine, and many are doing fine. But as women come into more money, we really want to educate women to work with those professionals who look them in the eye, who treat them with respect and dignity, who educate them and all of that, and not just work with a financial person because it's their father's brother's uncle or
Right.
something like that. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
it's their financial future. You have to get financially naked with these people, and it's got to be somebody you trust. So that's one. The other one, and I think for businesses, is sales, right? I'm an educator. I'm not a salesperson, passionate
Right.
about what I do. I know when I talk to people. I'm a firm believer. I'm well priced, but it's just getting out and talking to enough people because I know that marketing and sales is expensive. Very, very,
Yeah.
very, very, very expensive. And I'm in a big, big market with lots of big players who have a lot of deep pockets, and that's not me. So the other thing
Right.
is, VC funding doesn't go to women. VC funding goes to men. Venture capitalist funding, less than 3% goes to women, and less than half of that go to women of color. So you're just spinning your wheels if you think you're going to get out there and pitch. And I don't have time for that because I'm trying to consistently be here, build, grow, build, grow. And we're
Right.
getting there. It's going to take longer, but we're getting there.
That's awesome. With those pivots that you've made over the last number of years as you were growing, what are maybe one or two of those pivots that were like big changes that you wish you maybe would have known sooner? Like, or ideas like you're like, oh, if I would have only known this would have helped me out back then at the beginning.
Sometimes you don't know until you try things. If I had only known that LinkedIn ads are very expensive and will never work, I spent a lot of
Okay.
money on those. And they're very expensive, but I thought, yeah, but my whole audience is on
Right.
LinkedIn.
You would
They're
think,
all
yeah.
out there. Of course, I should invest in that, but they're very, very, very expensive. And you need to spend a lot of money for those to hit. So, as much money as I spent, it didn't work. And I
Mhm.
spent a lot of money that I'm still paying off and it didn't work. So, you have to spend money, you have to try things. So, that's one thing I wish I didn't spend money on. Those are for
Right.
larger organizations, right? So
Right.
I would say I wouldn't do that again.
Gotcha.
You do have to try I think you have to try things for 3 to 4 months and then pivot. You can't try things for a month and see if it didn't work.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah, you can't because sometimes they're like, "Well, it didn't work." Well, you've only done it a month, right? You need to really give it time to test it. And my coach would say 3 to 4 months, evaluate what worked, what didn't work. See if it's just a tweak. I mean, don't pull, unless you really feel like, "No, we're dying here. It's not ever gonna work." We
Right.
tried, mailers, which were not expensive, but we tried it for like 8 months. Crickets. We tried it, right? We
Right.
paid for it, whatever. It wasn't that expensive. We pulled it. It didn't really do us anything. So we tried a lot of different things that we've talked to experts about. Some things did work, like we do some LinkedIn automation outreach, which works for us really well. And we don't do it in a way that's creepy and gross, where it's like, buy my product,
Right.
It's
Right.
really just to build relationship and to engage and have conversation.
That's wonderful. Well, I do know that LinkedIn is a great tool, and I do know that there's ways to, grow from that, but I
Yeah.
haven't tried myself, so I don't have any good insight for you. But
Yeah.
you're
No.
right. You would think like that's where your people live, right? They're all out there talking about their experiences, their product, they're putting themselves out there because they know that that's a good market where people might be looking for somebody financial.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that that was a good start, but I can't imagine how expensive LinkedIn would also be. That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, whether it's on the professional side or on the consumer side, have you seen any particular big ahas where there's someone or like an example of somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I've learned this or this changed my life on either side of the business?
You mean working with purse strings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I give you some great examples. I had a financial professional woman. She's super cool. She's a grandma, drives a Harley, and
Love it
she's just
already.
amazing. And she's a financial professional, works with women in divorce. And we have a lead magnet. What these are value-based tools that they can purchase from us and co-brand. So this is a
Oh,
tool that's
nice.
it's a divorce guide. We have it for free on our front page that women can just grab and use if they're contemplating or going through divorce. And she purchased that and co-branded it. So now she can use it on her site with her branding, her face and all that. So she's used that on her website, in her newsletter, in her blogs, links back to it. It's a great way that she can nurture her audience, communicate that she works with divorced women, gather some more emails to her email list, nurture. So all of this, which takes time and then communicates
Yes.
to her audience that she serves divorced women. And then also she's presented on our site as well. So we always send them the video. She's used that video and kind of chopped it up into little bits and put that on her site. And she told us her traffic on her site went up 40%.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And she
That
gave
is
us that data.
so
My traffic went up 40% when I put that on my site because women are like,
Well, they're
Wow.
struggling and they don't know where to go, right? Or like they
Exactly.
literally, I mean, I see it all the time just in, some of the Facebook groups or even women that I've talked to where, I feel very fortunate that through my divorce, I had a corporate job and I was the breadwinner even in my marriage. So when I left, I was in a position where I could take care of myself. But, through this journey and wanting to empower women so much in this area, I've learned and I've heard from plenty of women who just aren't in that same place. And, it's scary to think I wouldn't know how to move on with my life if I felt so trapped. So I would imagine that that is, finding the right people to work with and having that kind of success. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So I hear a lot of people want to know, well, how many referrals will I get? Well, it's not a referral lead source in that way where you buy referrals. We let women rule. So the women who come
Mm.
can look through the directory and they make the selection on who they want to just click and link out to and make an appointment with. That's why we promote out our professionals so much to the communities of women. But there's so many like ancillary ways that our professionals have gotten business. Some of it is just because they saw a logo on their website that said, I'm a purse strings approved professional. People click on that and they're like, wow, goes right to their purse strings page. And they're
Ah,
like, this is
right.
so cool. Someone said, I pulled my daughter over and I'm like, hey, look at this. Our financial professional now serves women. This is really neat. And he was showing his daughter that. So it just has so many other rippling effects that I never even thought about that are really
Yeah,
powerful.
because it's right, because it isn't just a referral source, like you said, just because I've used them and they're so and so, so and so, and so and so's contact, but that there is someone focused on educating women who's actually vetted them, interviewed them, talked with them, and made sure that they're the right, professional that's safe to use. So I think that's amazing.
Hello.
Okay, so we will wrap this up with let me just ask for some advice for women starting out with their business. What are some just very basic, like how would you manage somebody starting their business for managing their finances?
Well, I would say, that's kind of a big question. So let's say you had a job and you wanted to start a business. I would always say start it as a side hustle, right? Don't give up your income to start something that hasn't been proven yet.
Right.
And prove it a little bit, right? Test it out, test the waters because you're going to test things and pivot. A lot of times we think, this is the greatest thing. Everybody's going to want this. And you'll be shocked that the answer is nobody wants it.
Right.
Somebody said to me, you have to create something that women would crawl over broken glass to get. And it's not always something that you think that because you have the greatest thing, people will do that. You really have to test it. And that's a
I love
hard
that.
thing to say because we all think, oh, I have the best idea or whatever. You really, really, really have to test it. You have to
Right.
have very thick skin and be open to feedback, whether you like it or not, and have a
Right.
trusted community around you that's going to give you good feedback and sometimes the hard talk, but also the good congratulations and high fives.
Right.
And then just keep testing until you're making some income before you move your job or move off your day job if that's what your goal is. The other thing is also getting all of your finances in order, no commingling, making sure you understand how to set up your business. And if you really want to make it, full time, you have to start on the right foot with good foundations around setting it up, getting your finances in order, getting a bookkeeper and things like that.
Nice. If you could wave a magic wand and it would just like solve a problem or the biggest problem for women in business, what would that magic wand trick be for you?
I wish that every woman in business had a magic fairy that they could talk to or lean on when they had a question that they were struggling with and needed answers for.
Yeah.
Because you're going to find, especially if you're a solopreneur, that so often we are stuck having to make decisions that we make, but sometimes we're like, oh, I'm just not sure which way to go. And like we ask our partner, we ask a friend, or we
Right.
ask somebody else, and they're like, they try to do the best they can, but they don't really know. And then you try to find other entrepreneurs, but they're not really in the same business you have. They might be doing
Right.
something totally different and they don't really get it. Right. So sometimes I just so often wish, God, And I'm so fortunate because I have Maggie and we get it because we're in the same business
Yeah.
together and we can bounce it off each other. But if everyone had a magic fairy or someone they could talk through, and maybe it's just a really good business coach that's affordable that they could, if they didn't
Right.
have to pay because, dollars are, I mean, there's fabulous coaches out there, but they're so expensive sometimes and it's hard
Yep.
to really make the money stretch. But I would say if everyone could have a magic business fairy that they could help them make good decisions, that would be
All right.
fabulous.
I would love to create. I wish I could create that as well because that would be pretty amazing.
That'd be a good business, magic business fairy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be a very good one for us. Fortunately, it's a little bit of a stretch, but um, I think that's really it that I wanted to learn from you. Any other tips on business strategies at all, or we can just wrap up with you sharing how to find you on purse strings.
Yeah, I would just say for women in general, as I always say, whether business or personal, know your numbers. Don't be afraid to know your numbers. Rip the Band-Aid off if you have to, but know where your money is, where it's going, access to all of your accounts. Talk with your
That's
partner
huge.
on a regular basis about your money. I've just too often have heard of money being hidden, money being stolen. Somebody died, they didn't know where the money was. They don't have access to the account. They don't have access to the husband's cell phone to get in, to get information. Don't don't do that. Don't be that person. Set yourself up for success in the event of any emergency. Be in
That's
front of
huge.
it. So business or personal, understand your dollars and cents because that's the foundation of everything before you even think about running a business or anything else. You need to really understand your money and where it's going and have full control over any point in time how to access it.
That is such great advice because yeah, we just hear those really sad stories of women losing everything or not knowing how to move forward. So that is
Mhm.
amazing. Barb, I appreciate you on a million levels. First of all, just you being the cheerleader for me and being a sounding board and with your knowledge and experience, your personality, like I love you and adore you so much. And I'm so insanely grateful that you're in my circle. And I can't thank you enough for you being you. And I would love for you to share, like, where is Purse Strings? How else can people find you? And do you have anything coming up that is of interest that you want to share?
Do I have something coming up in partnership with Grateful Connections?
Yes.
We
We
are
should talk
launching
about that. Yeah.
fantastic 2 half-day workshop for small women business owners. And this is kind of like your business fairy, right? We're going to have all
This
the
is my
experts in the
business
room.
fairy. And this is literally the dream workshop that I've wanted to put together. So there's literally no one on this planet that would be a better partner than you. So yes, I'm excited. Share some more details.
Yeah, we're just going to have all the experts in the room walk you through step by step everything you need to do. What you might already be in business 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, but you might just still have some hiccups on, am I a solopreneur? Should I be an LLC? What's the difference anyway? Keep getting confused. Or what about my tax documents? Or, should I get a bookkeeper? Do I need a bookkeeper versus a CPA? We're going to have a bookkeeper, an insurance person. We're going to have an attorney, all those experts in the room. You'd pay a lot of money per hour for any one of those
Right?
people, but we're going to have them all together and we're going to walk you through step by step, take all those concerns off your plate. Your business
Give
is
you
going to be tip top shape by the end of it. You're going to have go-to resources that you can count on to ask your questions. And then you can go grow your business because all your finances and foundations will
yes.
be in order. And I can't wait to do this because this is what I needed, right? It's what everybody
Right.
needs.
That's what
We
I
kind of
need.
stumbled over it, right? And like
Yes.
tracked down, I didn't know you get something from the state. I have to do what? I have to
Right.
file what? I have to pay for what? I have to do what?
No ideas.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
Well,
that's how
because you
you
don't know
learn
what
it,
you
right?
don't know until you
Yeah.
stumble. So, no, this
You're
is
going to
literally
know now.
this is literally the dream workshop that I've been wanting to put together since I conceived this idea of Grateful Connections. And with you being the financial person and an adult educator, I'm so excited. So we'll keep you updated on all the details for that. And then where can we find you? At your website and your email or anywhere else you
Yeah,
want to share?
pursestrings.co. So it's not .com, it's .co. When I started pursestrings.com was $85,000 to buy.
Nope.
Crazy,
Yeah.
right?
No, thank
No,
you. Yeah.
thank you. So pursestrings.co, and I'm so excited because we're rolling out a refreshed website at the end of the week.
You
And
are?
when we roll it out, you're just going to get up and dance, and you'll know why when you see it.
Oh, I'm so
So
excited.
I know, it's really fun, and it has so many fabulous tools and resources, easy to use, easy to find. So I'm excited about it. So pursestrings.co, vast amount of free tools and resources at your fingertips and access to our directory of vetted financial professionals. Tell your sisters, tell your moms, tell your aunts, tell every woman you know to go to pursestrings.co.
Amazing. And you have an awesome podcast. And you also
Our
have a weekly,
podcast.
yes, and you also have weekly calls for us women who are just consumers interested in learning more about finance. So share that information as
Yeah,
well.
Money Talks, 11 o'clock Central Time from 11 to 11:30. Quick hit, one financial professional, one topic. Everyone's welcome to join us live. You can get the link right on our website. You just sign up once, and then we'll just send you updates on what's coming up next. And our podcast
So
just
good.
won an award of one of the top 20 females in finance podcasts.
I know. And tell us the name of it because it's a freaking awesome name.
It's Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about.
I love it.
Because we're talking about it.
I love it so much. Well, congratulations on that award. That's huge.
I know,
That
we're
is
so
so
excited.
amazing. I'm so
Yeah, we're
proud of
excited.
you. And these weekly calls really and truly are very, very informative. And I appreciate that you put them on. So thank you so much, Dr. Barb, for everything.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see where both of our journeys take us. Sounds amazing.
If you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. You can find me at gratefulconnections.com, join our private Facebook group, Grateful Connections, and follow me on Instagram at gratefulconnections_co. Sharing is an act of gratitude, so please pass this along to another woman in business who inspires you.
We're so grateful you joined us on What Gratitude Built. We grow stronger when we grow together. So stay connected, stay inspired, and let gratitude lead the way in your business and your life.